Hello from London and welcome to Laskasas Not-So-Secret Diary. Today we'll deepen into the design legacy of FCI London, a beacon of luxury living for almost 40 years and one of the largest furniture designer and lifestyle showrooms in the UK. Join us to learn how FCI turns a house into a home. So, Ben, firstly, thank you so much for accepting our invitation. It's an honor to have you and FCI at Laskasas Not-So-Secret Diary.
Perfect.
And thank you for having us in such a beautiful Laskasas setting. To start, I know that FCI is the largest furniture designer and lifestyle showroom in the UK, or one of the largest. And congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Can you share a bit of FCI story with us?
Sure. So FCI itself started as a furniture family business. We are talking about 40 years ago. So the family moved to London from Mumbai. They had a furniture showroom in Mumbai back in the days. Still exists, still operates. And then approximately 15 years ago, the second generation took over the business. And is when all changes started to happen, obviously gradually, and to become what we are.
That's really nice. 40 years already.
Yeah.
On the market.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Focusing on the team and before speaking about the space,
Yep.
FCI, I read that you don't depend on outsourcing all of your team. It's
Correct.
internal and
Yep.
working right here.
Yeah, pretty much.
How good is that for you?
Well, for us, or for the owners specifically from the beginning, it was a matter of control. For us, the client's expectation and the client's happiness is one of our core goals. So perception and great service, it is, as I say, is our main focus. We wouldn't be able to do that if we outsource the services. Mainly, what people usually tend to outsource is the delivery, which for us it was very important from the start. So we have always had internal delivery services, which we do the white glove delivery service, and as you mentioned, is all staying in-house. And that give us control of being able to deliver the service that we do on the sales process, and then again move it into the last stage of the project, which is the delivery and installation. My main task when I was working, or when I start working with a new interior designer, it's being able to become one of the main sourcing product, let's say, platform within the trade business, and that has been very successful. Because we cover a large range of products and brands, and sometimes it's not what we have, it's what we can have. So, in many cases, we have had many interior designers coming and say, Ben, do you work with this brand from wherever? I just heard about them.
Customers come and they ask for the brands.
Correct. Well, it's actually how it started with Laskasas. So a particular client of mine, very good client, very good friend, saw the product online or in a fair, I don't remember exactly, and she said, Ben, do you work with this brand? Never heard. Contact back in the day the previous export manager, and then we start talking about it. And that is usually how we developed the relationship with all our suppliers.
And I will grab, you were speaking about Laskasas specifically. What do you think that was the perception of that client that you just spoke? What do they think about Laskasas in particular, but about Portuguese furniture in general?
Yeah. So I think the Portuguese furniture, I'm not going to say has been underestimated, but I think I'm Spanish myself, and I think the challenge that we have faced, or this market face, is the strength of the Italian design products. So I don't like to generalize, but I think the perception of Italians are a bit more high-end than what is, other markets. And I mean, that's across every single industry, in fashion or even, or in the furniture where we are. So the Portuguese market for us has become, in this particular scenario, was Laskasas one of the first brands that we started to work with. And the beauty of what we saw of those Portuguese brands are, and Laskasas specifically, is the flexibility. So I think the option of bespoke items, of not having any restriction, of being able to change and modifying as per client requirements or our requirements, it was the really key selling point against Italian or some of the Italians suppliers, that they don't really customize much, or they try not to.
We already spoke about FCI searching for new gems in the market, in introducing them into the UK market specifically. How do you do this work? What are you looking for specifically when you are looking for a brand, when you are scouting, if I can say, for a brand, a new brand?
It's a challenging job, to be fair, but actually very, very rewarding. We use different platforms. I tend to visit pretty much every furniture fair, which is obviously around, connections, people talks, and at the end, the furniture industry is quite small, so people tend to move from one factory to another one, and when you get a good connection with someone, I think that carries on through, as I say, moving from company to company.
Or also travel and go in person to the factories to meet people who are behind the brands.
That has been a challenge factor for me, because we work with many. So it has been very...
More than 700.
Indeed.
Furniture designer brands.
And we cannot number it, because it changes every day, as I was saying before. So if a client come to me today and say, do you work with that brand? We will say, we will try, And with some brands we stopped, with some brands with new brands we start collaborating, and it's all based on how the brands react. For us, in order to start working with a brand, I usually, at least at the beginning, I try to test the brands to see the service, to see the quality, and before I really bring it into the showroom, for example, or I really expand it into my team. So I try to test one or two products integrated into a project that we work with, and see what is, as I say, what is the response, what is the quality, what is the customer service, there are delays, there are damages, all of that, and slowly testing it before we really expand it. So that means that we need to be supported by our suppliers, because if they don't perform, we are the one suffering. So for us, it's very important that the companies that we work closely with are supporting us through the process.
Speaking about residential and commercial projects, you have both, I know, more on the residential side.
Yeah.
But how does the design approach change between these two types of working interior design?
Well, I guess I think it's very different. I think we focus on the high-end residential, mainly working with end clients or interior designers, and I think it's extremely different to when you approach a house for a client, for an end consumer, or as I say, working directly with the consumer or working with the interior designer. Is definitely more personal. You need to really listen, you really need to understand the needs. You put your inputs, but you always put the inputs based on someone else. Quality life or quality of life,
it's expectation.
Correct. And it's extremely rewarding, once again, when a client come back and say, my goodness, I'm so happy to live at home, I'm so happy to invite in friends, and that really personal touch, and that personal connection that we create with those clients are, for us, is priceless. Within the commercial, we have done it. It's not our main core. I always say the same. I mean, if a client comes to do a commercial, I wouldn't say no. but I don't think it's my current focus at the moment because
It's
we
not
know
the core of the company.
Correct. We know what we do well. We do that. We delivered, or we try to deliver, a very good, exceptional service with a high-end residential. And we know that we can do it very well. Commercial becomes a bit more a transactional, and we really like that personal touch with our clients. So
A truly adventure.
indeed, yeah. We can say that, yeah.
In over 40 years of existence, I believe, and I know that FCI has won various awards. However, I scroll through your website and you focus a lot on customers and on customers' reviews. This is your truly key performance indicator. It's fair to say.
Yes. The awards are good to have it on the pipeline, or it's good to have it on the library, let's say, on the shelf. But again, and for us and for me as a leader, it is the best award that I can do is to a returning client. So if you do something right,
The lifetime
they usually
value.
correct. So having the recognition of the industry is very powerful. But at the end, we live because of our clients. So I think it gets without saying that our main focus is the clients. Once again, we try to always deliver, and I cannot say that we always do the best, because, as I say, we work with many suppliers, processes are long, and damages happen during the process. But our main intention is to at the end, when all the challenges are gone, that the client say, it might have been gone tough, but I'm happy with the final result. And I think once you really deliver, or the client is at home and in peace, I think all the bad problems that happened in the past
Fades.
Correct, just fades away. So that's what I want to try achieve.
How do you see this supremacy, if I can say, about the Italian brands,
Yeah.
and maybe some others that are not Italian, but they want to have a space in the market,
Well, I think, and I always laugh with my Italian friends. I think Italy somehow they have known how to sell themselves very well. I think in London and any other countries, I think, or big cities, you always go and then there always something Italian around there. And in the food industry, you will see London, there are full of Italian restaurants and they are all packed. But it's just that, that something that they have done very well in the past.
The made in Italy is really strong.
Correct. So something that they have done in the past that, or they continue to do it, is that they really have managed to get the value on that made in Italy brand. I think that made in Italy concept overall has killed us.
Ben, to finish, and of course about Laskasas, I would love to know your favorite piece, personally, and why.
I think for me, the turning point with Laskasas, it was the Rossi collection, the desk, the bedside tables. I think those were the first collection that I think Laskasas made in my perception, as a bit more onto the high end, that luxury market, and focusing on the details, So that was for me the turning point. I think the Rossi collection has been very successful for us. We always had the Rossi desk. Only recently, a client came and bought a full set, and one of that pieces were the Rossi desk. But it was always I don't want to say my baby, but it was one of the products I always tried to have on display, because of that, because of the details, and then the option that we could do, the bedside tables, the desk, the dressing table. And if I have to select another one into the upholstery part, I would possibly consider the Wellington sofa. I think for us did very well. We have I think we have sold it many times. I think it was a piece, a very particular piece. So those would be, I guess, the two pieces that I think if I have to think about Laskasas, it would be the two. And I'm sorry for the pronunciation of Laskasas. I know it's not the same when you say it, but I think those will be the two pieces that I will keep. You know, if I have to go into what represents, let's say, or the product that represents Laskasas for us.
Perfect. And Ben, thank you so much for such an honest and
Thank you for
good
coming.
conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. No problem.
And that's a wrap. Thank you for joining us in the world of FCI London, where design excellence meets great customer service. Until next time on Laskasas Not-So-Secret Diary.